It is the most rewarding thing in life is really helping others. You're helping yourself when you help others, but because that fuels you and makes you find fulfillment. I do find fulfillment through helping others, and I believe everybody does, whether they they want to accept it or not. That's a different story. But everybody finds fulfillment on helping others.
Welcome to Career Cheat Code. In this podcast, you'll hear how everyday people impact the world through their careers. Learn about their journey, career hacks, and obstacles along the way. Whether you're already having the impact you want or are searching for it, this is the podcast for you. All right. Liderman, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for the invitation.
I appreciate you taking the time to connect today. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, this is great. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it as well.
Yeah, let's dive right in. Let's tell the world what it is you do for a living.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm an entrepreneur. I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. So we focus on software development. And we have a global tech academy, which basically what that means is that we find youth from underserved communities around the world, and we teach them how to do tech and become great software developers or great entrepreneurs that want to use tech as becoming entrepreneurs in tech. So that's what we do.
That's great. Tell me more about the name of your company and how long you've been doing this.
Yeah. So Toucan Talent is the name of our company. I have a second company that is Blue Point 2, which is in healthcare. I've had that one for about 14, 15 years now. And Toucan Talent is it's been 3 years in the market, about 3 years since we incorporated. And it's a company that was created during the pandemic. Basically, the idea started kind of evolving during the pandemic. So we operate in 11 countries now. We have software developers mainly in Latin America, and our headquarters is in Kansas City. And we have a small team in Europe as well. But yeah, that's what we do.
That's awesome. How many people are in your company now?
So about 50, 60 right now.
Wow.
We've grown fast. We've gotten to about probably 70 full time, and now we're probably around 50-ish. But in the 3 years that we've been in business, we have put probably over 100 people through our academy. And everything started just doing software development, right? But then it gradually, organically grew to finding talent from underserved communities and giving them opportunities to join our team, work with our experts, and turn out that we realized that, oh my God, we're doing something really meaningful and really cool. Now, how do we scale that? And then we formalized it more as a part of the organization is the Global Talent Academy.
Yeah. So this sounds really impactful, right? So how are you able to monetize something with such deep impact?
Yeah. So that's been the $1 million question, right? Because as a software development, all our clients are here in the US, and our clients trust us because of our expertise and our capabilities. But once we start adding, youth that we have to go train, then it's a huge cost for a very long time until we can get them, to be more marketable and really provide more value to the team. But Radhy, the reality is that I fell in love with the mission of the Global Talent Academy, that I could not just wait for more revenue to come in through the doors in order for me to do the academy. So I just felt the calling to go do it. So I invested a lot of my own dollars to make sure that we get more youth to become part of the Global Talent Academy. We've reinvested our profits back into the mission of the company, of the Global Talent Academy. But now we are lining up with certain foundations that want to help, states that want to help, because even here in the US, there is a lot that we could be doing to help underserved communities focus on workforce development and get people from certain communities that typically don't have the opportunities to work in high tech, and for us to go and train them and give them a path, a career that is enjoyable, meaningful, and so forth. And sometimes what I think, and I see these all over the world, is opportunities are not spread equally, right? but talent is. So how do we go and find those talented people from whatever background they may have, right? And now give them an opportunity to have a career. So that's our focus.
No, that's remarkable. So typically, it sounds like you would partner with foundations, states, or other governments. They identify the needs of what that population needs, right? So if the state of Kansas or Missouri, right, is like, we know we need more people in these industries, and they partner with you to help both find and then train those folks. And then on the other side, you also have relationships with tech companies. It sounds like that would say, we need to fill some of these roles, but we need to train people to do that. Is that typically how the model works?
Yes, that's very similar. So it's like you build the mission and you find the foundations and the states, like you said, and agencies and in government that ties to the mission and provides guidance, financials, and provide also they may already have certain incentives, right, for companies like ours to just be able to drive the mission. And then we have the ecosystem of companies, tech companies in any industry, really. We have clients that are not in tech, but they do require tech. They still, the CFO wants to see a dashboard with numbers are meaningful to them to be able to make decisions, right? It may not be in tech, it may be in food and beverage or manufacturing, but they still have those needs of a CRM or an application or a website that allows them to collect information from their clients, whatever it might be. And it could be very high tech companies too, or startups that have brilliant ideas, but they don't quite have the workforce to go and really develop those ideas for them. So in some cases, we're just building those MVPs, right? Those proof of concepts, so they can go and then be able to raise capital, or at least take something to the market and let the market tell them if they're after something good or not.
What made you start this company?
Yeah, great question. So pandemic, right? Going back to the pandemic. In January 2020, we were ready to take over the world that year, or so we felt like. We had a strong pipeline. We had a software that was very innovative within the healthcare market that we were going to release in 2020. And we were working with many innovation departments at hospitals all around the nation. And we've been working on this for years. We've been burning cash, growing organically, but all the cash that we were making through consulting and some other software custom software development that we've done for many hospitals, we're putting it into this great idea. Pandemic hits, all those innovation departments are decimated, they're gone. And now I find myself that, because healthcare found itself actually on like saving lives, we don't have time to go and figure out what the next big thing is, right? And put too much into innovation. We need to focus on treating patients. So my whole pipeline went away. The clients that we had on this software that were struggling to pay, we couldn't get any appointments at any hospital at the time. And then I had the idea of, okay, there are certain features that we need to create. And maybe now during the pandemic is a good time for us to go and focus on those features. If you remember, we thought we were going to be pandemic for a month or two, maybe three. Didn't think it was going to be so long. But I thought if I can focus for the next 6 months on driving some of the features, that'd be great. So I'm going to go ahead and hire some software developers from Venezuela, which is where I'm originally from, maybe one or two that can help us out in the meantime. And so I hired the first one, and then it didn't take long for me to notice that we were really transforming his life and the life of his family by being employed at our company. So at that moment, I just realized I had the aha moment, the mission in life type of moment. That was it for me. Whatever age I was, and at the time, 45, 46, perhaps. But that's when I realized this is my mission. This is my calling. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. I want to build a business that creates high impact on the lives of others and helps them transform their lives and open opportunities that probably they never even dreamed of.
So it sounds like two things. One, you're clearly a serial entrepreneur for real. And then two, you basically stumbled upon this while trying to work on other things. It sounds like you just had that moment where you're like, wait, instead of like building this other thing, I'm actually helping this person's life and their family's lives by just employing them in this sector. Maybe I should do that more often. Like, that's remarkable to me that you basically pivoted in the middle of building something to something that just felt like you were going to have more impact with.
That's exactly right. Exactly.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
well said. I love the way you put it. You said it because yeah, that's exactly how. That's how it was. That was a eureka moment that we spend our lifetime sometimes looking for that passion, looking for that thing that we feel like this is the mark that I can leave in this planet or whatever drives us, right? And for me, that was it.
Yeah.
I found it, recently, 4 or 5 years ago. That's when I realized this is it. So then every day since then, it has been, how do I make a good business out of it? Business that is profitable, business that drives value to our clients, and a business that is really helping transform those lives, the lives of everybody that is part of it. And how do I scale that? See, for me, it's been, Radhy, there's always this thing that we think that to change the world is so difficult. It's so complex. But forget about changing the world for a moment. Think about changing somebody's world, right? And then you add more and more people, right? And then all of a sudden you're making that huge impact in hundreds, thousands of lives, hopefully millions of lives. And then, that is super cool. And what I have found out is not that difficult. It really isn't that difficult. Once we put our minds to really do something impactful and meaningful, we put our minds together and we set that, well, we can do it. We can achieve it. I mean, I've seen it. I don't want to be, what I mean to say is we're doing it. We're improving the lives of many, and we love doing that, and we want to do more and more of it.
And you all are not a nonprofit, right? You all are a for-profit tech company.
We're a for-profit tech company
that is mission driven and operates with the end impact in mind the entire time.
Correct.
I love that. I think that approach is remarkable. And I think, a lot of us sometimes think that in order to have impact aligned career or business, you have to be in the nonprofit sector or you have to be in the government sector or anything. And you have found a way to dispel that, right? And to really say, no, I can actually lead by mission and have a profitable business along the way.
Correct. And our people are paid well. We really go after very high tech projects, and we compete in the market, and we don't win them all, but we do win great projects that are complex and clients are demanding, and for them, the quality of the product is the number one mission. And we get that, we understand it, and we train our people to really become the best of the best. So in terms of a nonprofit, I do want to create a nonprofit as well, but I couldn't wait. So I decided I'm going to do it on a for-profit because it is doable, and it's a model that I hope many others replicate and do as well. I welcome the competition and what we're doing, because if more and more people are more mindful of the impact and more driven about making whatever impact it is, then we're lifting people up. We're helping people get out of poverty. We are developing the workforce of tomorrow. And so then we're all contributing to humankind.
So can you speak a little to how people can join, partner, take advantage of the things that you all are offering, both from the partnership side and if I were just in my 20s trying to figure out how does someone connect with Toucan Talent and figure out if there's a good match there?
Yeah, definitely go to our website, www.toucan, which is TOUCAN talent.us. And there's a form right there, simple form, just to be connected. So that's an easy way. Mainly we connect through the organizations, through the partners. We are just looking for more clients, because as we get more and more clients that have software development demands, then that gives us the opportunity to bid in those projects and be able to go and be able to build a bigger pool of apprentices that we have. So we're currently working with the state of Kansas, and the state of Kansas has been incredible, making sure that mission-driven organizations like ours find a path through the state to acquire more clients as well as programs, and for them to really understand what is it that we, the entrepreneurs that are mission-driven, need, so the state can accommodate those needs. So we're working with the apprenticeship model here in the state of Kansas, so which is a beautiful program that they have. They help subsidize a good portion of the cost, right? So we can go into those underserved communities and sign up apprentices to become part of our company, and we put them through a training program. That training program also includes other organizations that we have aligned with, universities. We're working this moment with few universities to build specific short-term certifications, 10, 8-week certifications on data science, AI, cybersecurity, iCloud computing. So now imagine a kid, a youth, a young adult from any place in the world, you name it, Senegal, just mention one, right? But now he or she could have those certifications from these American universities, as well as the certification from Toucan Talent, the hands-on training that we provide, right? Also the communication and working with our clients, and then being for us to be able to provide internship, either Toucan Talent or through the ecosystem of companies that we're building that can also provide and benefit from these internships. And they can go and hire those individuals, or we'll hire some of them and keep them full-time employees with Toucan Talent. But more importantly, now they have a path. Now they have opportunities. Now they have a career ahead of them. They have the hands-on training. They have certifications. Now they're powerful.
And that's a mutually beneficial arrangement, right? Like the state of Kansas has its needs, and they can partner with homegrown organizations to meet those needs, right? And they don't have to, look elsewhere, but the talent that is already in the backyard and knows the communities and knows how to actually uplift those skill sets from people. So that's, I think that's a great approach. And clearly you've been able to grow it into a 50 plus employee organization that operates globally now. So that's truly exciting.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks. And yes, that's you're right. The state of Kansas has, specific needs that they're trying and that they're trying to find organizations like mine to help them solve some of those problems. And they welcome organizations that can tap into their apprenticeship program to go and train individuals and have the workforce of the future, which is not so much of the future. If you think about it speaking on the technical side, the Global Economic Forum just came out with not too long ago. I think we're losing 96 million jobs in the U.S. and we're gaining 120 million new jobs. And you may think, okay, well, we have a delta of 24 million, but no, it's not true, because we're losing a lot of manufacturing jobs. We're losing a lot of jobs that are going to be displaced with AI. And when you look at the list of the jobs of the future, and the future meaning 2030, we're just talking 4.5 years into the future, are AI, cybersecurity, cloud computing, computer literacy. I mean, just the 4 top things that they're looking for, or saying that are going to be the jobs that we are going to be needing in just a little over 4 years, are jobs that most of the people that are going to be displaced from the workforce are not trained on. So there's a bigger delta. We have to go fast and train people. Now, I'm talking about the United States of America, right? The most powerful country in the history of the planet. Now imagine when we go to Africa, Latin America, Asia, and some Asian countries that have huge struggles as well. How can we also offer an opportunity for people globally to, train and get equipped and skilled up with the knowledge of that is needed, right? To be able to go ahead and supply this demand that is just coming. I think we have a great opportunity now to do amazing things.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. So what's two questions? One, what is your favorite part of being an entrepreneur in this way? And then two, have you had a moment where you have seen that impact directly, and how it's actually changing someone's life? I know you mentioned the reason why you started it was because of that, but in the 5 year sense, have you had a moment where you're like, oh, this thing is actually working?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I'm sorry, to your first question about what I like. I just love solving problems that are impactful, that are meaningful. I probably should focus on a little bit more trivial things. I feel like sometimes, but I just love solving complex social problems that will impact lives of others. Now, to your second question, there are many examples, but so we have in our company, primarily at the beginning of the company, right? And I could see that, for example, somebody who built his own home with his own hands in a remote part of Venezuela, all of a sudden was able to acquire a home, right? A better home in the city, was able to afford private school for their kids. And right there, if you think about terms of Latin America, just the access to a private school is a life-changing event. Your future has now improved, tenfold, twentyfold, just by having access to better education. So those kids, first of all, they're not poor anymore. That family is not poor anymore, and those kids have great chances to achieve great things just because of having access to better education. When we see youth in Latin America buying the first vehicle, buying their apartment, a house, which in many places it is almost impossible to buy property, right? And now they can, and they're doing it. So to me, that those are some of the examples, right? And they can, and they'll say, I mean, we have one young person in our team. He has two properties now. He got a little micro loan from the company, so he could get the second one without selling the first one. But in many places in Latin America, that is extremely difficult to achieve. And when you see somebody who's 21, 22, 23 years old, and they're able to do that, that's amazing.
That's life-changing work right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I know you mentioned Venezuela. So tell me, let's go back now. Let's talk a little bit about where were you born, raised, and kind of how your early childhood time were. And did you at an early age in your teenage years know that you were going to be an entrepreneur and all that?
Great question. So I'm from Venezuela. I'm from small town in the middle of the country. It's more like farming town, very far away from any type of entrepreneur ecosystem or VCs or any tech innovation at all. So grew up full of very. I don't want to say that my family was poor, because we were not. We were actually very rich because we had so much love and care, and that is the real richness. Now we were very limited financially, and my grandmother helped raise me so my mom could go to college. My mom was 19 when I was born, but not just my grandmother. My mom is one of the youngest out of seven, and all my uncles and my aunts, they were also my parents. So everybody pitched in to make sure that my mom could go to college and have a better future and be able to get out of where we were. Not that it wasn't safe, not that it was bad, but just to be able to have a better future. So we were very rich because of that. I mean, I had an incredible amount of support from my family. The love has always been just hard to describe and sometimes difficult for many people to understand how somebody how somebody can have so much love for from the whole extended family. My mom graduated from college and we moved on. We moved to another city, a bigger city with more opportunities. So I was able to go to private schools and have more access. My mom was very successful. I was raised by two parents. So my biological dad, as well as another stepdad that I had when my mom graduated from high school, and who was an incredible force in my life. Perhaps force is a word. Very successful individual who just really gave me a lot of opportunities to see the world from a different lens. And he passed in front of me when I was 11, and he had an aneurysm. So he died, and that was very traumatic. But then a little after that, about a year later, my mom and my biological dad met again and decided they were going to get married. So they got married, and then I had my siblings from my dad's side of the family, my sibling, and then they had more kids. So we've grown like just one big family. And by the age of 20, I left Venezuela and came to the United States. The drive for me to leave Venezuela was my dad was a politician, and I felt like maybe politics was the easiest thing for me to do and what I should have. That was the path for me, right? But I did not want to be a politician. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I had been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. I had a orange juice stand on one of the biggest squares in Venezuela with my best friend, and we were always figuring out how to open more stands and hire more people and build something bigger, right? So very entrepreneurial since we were kids, and I that was my path. That's what I wanted. My passion was not politics. And so I was kind of running away from politics. And I thought at the time, the best way for me to really, live out my dreams is I need to learn English as a second language, which is what brought me to the United States at the age of 20.
So at 20, you come here. Did you come here by yourself at that time? Or like was the rest of your family like, yeah, let's all go? How did that go?
No, it was just by myself. It was by myself, a friend of a friend. So a guy, a good friend of the family that worked for my dad at the time, just had a friend in Kansas City. And he said, hey, I have a friend that can maybe help you a little bit, get situated when you go to school and all that. And first of all, I wanted to go to California. I wanted to go to New York. I wanted to go somewhere cool and big. And never thought of Kansas City until I understood how expensive it is for an international student to be able to support himself at an American college to learn English as a second language. So then, when the numbers basically presented to me Kansas City, and yeah, maybe the help from that friend of yours, maybe I'll take it. So that's how I ended up here.
Wow. Okay. So from Venezuela, then you end up in Kansas City as a 20-year-old, going to college, start building your life there. So you graduate college with what type of degree, and what did you think you were going to do when you graduated? And then what actually happened?
Oh, gosh. Do we have 3 more hours of this? No, so yeah. So at the end, I came over to learn English as a second language, and I did that, and then I took some college classes. I went to college in Venezuela first, advertising and marketing, and I didn't finish there, but I came here, and after I was able to, I had to pass a test. It's called the TOEFL test, which is proficiency in English in order for you to be able to take classes at a college level. Then I took some business classes at a community college, and then I moved to Italy. So I was here in the U.S. for a couple of years, maybe, yeah, a couple of years, and then I decided I'm gonna do it all over again, but in Italy right now. So I ended up moving to Florence, Italy, and learning Italian as a second language and taking some business classes, more business classes there. Now, since I was a kid, everybody would tell me that my career should be in tech because I love computers and I could figure out computers easily. Now, I grew up, back in the 80s, right? Growing up, computers was a new thing, personal computer. And in my hometown, or I was one of the first ones that had a personal computer. So I was always creating something on the computer. So everybody would tell me that should be my career, and to me it was like, no, I'm too cool for that. I'm going to be a businessman. I'm not going to be a techie person. So anyway, I moved to Italy, learned Italian, take some business classes, and went to Brazil for a short period of time, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and then came back to Kansas City, got a job, met a girl, two kids. Hours later, I stayed here. So, and then I started when I came back, I went for it's called MCSC, which is I don't know if you remember this, but back in the 90s and early 2000s, Microsoft and Cisco were building, they have these certifications that, you will go to school to prepare for these certifications, but it is just technical certifications. So I got the MCSC, which is a Microsoft Computer System Engineering certification. It was called a degree, but it's a certification. And that is what gave me my access to my first tech job at a company here in Kansas City. Because in a way, I feel like what I'm doing now is very similar. It's almost replicating in a way. Life is so interesting. Back in the early 2000s, you could go to college for 4 years, but the demand was we have a ton of computers and we're building networks. We need people who understand how to build networks, right, for Microsoft, which was the main product, as well as Cisco on telecom. Microsoft, as well as Cisco, build these programs to be able to train narrowly focused train people narrowly focused on what mattered, of the jobs that were needed at the time. So that path was sometimes even more important than a 4 year college degree in computer science. So I feel like what I'm building now is very similar to it sometimes. Like I'm going that path as well. Is that how do I, nothing wrong with the universities, nothing wrong with higher ed. No, it's just like we have demands and we don't have enough people to go and cover those demands. How can we get some people that maybe choose a different route, don't want 4 year degree route, and still we give them skills to be productive and transform their lives.
Absolutely. So first, I definitely want to say kudos to you because I always look at people like you that have the audacity to leave their country where they were born, where they have their friends, their family, their, support cast, everything, and go to a place where they don't know the language and say, I'm going to start this over. And then you did that again after that, right? Like you went
Yeah.
to the United States and then you're like, let's try it again in Italy. Oh, let's go to Brazil for a little bit. And then to come back to Kansas City, I think that's, to me, remarkable, right? Like, I was also an immigrant, right? So I came from Dominican Republic, but I came as a child, right? Like the one with the audacity there was my mom. It's like, oh, snap, you really did that. And then like, I really look at people like that as like beyond superhero status. It's like you all just like do it boldly, fearlessly, and then you do it with a smile on your face at the end of it. And it's like, remarkable. And even to add to that, I think what brings me joy is also seeing people like you that are immigrants that are doing such remarkable things, right? So you are employing people in the United States. You are employing people worldwide. You are helping to shape communities, right? And you are uplifting and upskilling people here. And to me, that is great because that also changes the narrative of immigration. And it changes the narrative of like, oh, people come here to take jobs or people come here to do bad. You're here building jobs, you're here educating people, or you're here, breaking all of those stereotypes. So I just appreciate and commend you for just doing the great work.
Thanks, Radhy, for saying that. You're about to bring tears to my eyes with your words. It is incredible. It is. We're living weird times. The most difficult decision I've ever made in my life was to leave my family, leave my country, leave my people, leave my friends, to go to a foreign place and learn the language, to be able to communicate with others. That was definitely the biggest, the scariest, and the most difficult decision I ever made. I remember the day that I had to leave my two youngest sisters. The day I said goodbye to them, because I'm 16 and 14 years older than the two youngest one, and so at the time I felt like another dad to them. Right? I was there every day with them, and anyway, just leaving them, it just broke my heart, as well as leaving my mom, my dad, and the rest of the family. My sister, I have a sister that is, we're the closest in age, and we are best friends. Leaving her, my brother, leaving everybody. Anyway, it was extremely difficult. But we do that, immigrants. We do that because we're looking for better opportunities that are not naturally in our country, and sometimes it's worse than that. Sometimes it's more important than that. Sometimes it's security, safety. I did not grow up in a hostile environment, and I was not in a endangered zone by any means. But I could tell at the age of 20 that there was a scarcity of opportunities in Venezuela. This is 1995. This is pre-Chavez, and I could sense it back then, and turned out to be a great decision. Right at the time, most people would tell me in Venezuela, "You're crazy. Why are you leaving everything behind? Things are fine here in Venezuela." But I didn't think so, because I wanted to become an entrepreneur, and I wanted to do big things. And the American dream is a real thing. The United States of America is the most innovative country on the planet. And I felt like I need to take my chances, and that is where I will find the environment that I need to be able to fulfill my dreams. But yeah, it was tough. It was rough to do that, like your mom did. Is I don't know how to describe it other than a very, very difficult decision.
Absolutely. Now you did become that entrepreneur. You have since started different businesses, and you're, continuing to grow your business and employ other people. At what point did you realize you needed to hire your first person? And what was that role?
The first one was a software developer for Toucan Talent, when it was a software developer. And same thing for Blue Point 2, which I've had it for over a decade. It was a software developer, because usually that's where I need the help, right? Because it's a tech company. But for Toucan Talent, it was software development. And the first, I don't know, probably 5 to 10 people were software developers.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
is when we started doing a little bit more. Okay, maybe we need a part-time accountant, or different roles that
Yeah.
are not necessarily billable, right? So
Right.
because that's part of the challenge for startups too, and primarily like startup like mine, we don't have investors. We haven't had investors, so we grew organically. So you got to go secure the contract, get paid some money to go hire some people to deliver the contract, get the
Mm-hmm.
profit, and then you go and hire another person, and you go find another contract. And so it takes time. It takes time, but it has been so. It was a software developer was the first person that I needed to hire.
That makes sense. Are there any, I like to call these forms of media, right? So they can be books, podcasts, movies, right? That you have consumed that have shaped you personally or professionally.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there are so many stories, but I think for me, more than books, more than anything else, has been mentors. People that have taken the time to learn about me, to guide me, and help me somehow. And that's universal. And what I love about that is that it doesn't matter where you go in the world, you will find people that will lend you a hand, that will want to know from you and will want to contribute positively to your life. And you can find that universally. So for me, has been more than anything else, it has been that. It's just the mentors, the people along the journey in my life that have encouraged me, that have helped me, and have given me the fuel to go do something. As well as when I'm doing something wrong, have said, "Hey, I think you're on the wrong path," kind of, and guided me. So for me, it's more of that, the mentors.
Is there anything else that we haven't discussed that the world should know about Liderman?
Well, just want more people to join me, and let's do incredible work. I think it is the most rewarding thing in life is really helping others. You're helping yourself when you help others, but because that fuels you and makes you find fulfillment. I do find fulfillment through helping others, and I believe everybody does, whether they they want to accept it or not. That's a different story. But everybody finds fulfillment on helping others. So yeah, I just want more organizations, more people, more companies to help us keep growing and keep making a positive contribution to the world.
That's great. Well, Liderman, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you so much, Radhy. I appreciate your time.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did and believe on the mission we're on, please like, rate, and subscribe to this podcast on whatever platform you're using, and share this podcast with your friends in your networks. Make sure you follow us on Instagram and LinkedIn at Career Cheat Code, and tell us people or careers you would like to see highlighted. See you next week with some more cheat codes. Peace.